But look at this essay that they published that remains on their website to this very day. It's written by Ida Auken, World Economic Forum thinker and politician. I'm going to read it to you. Welcome to the year 2030. Welcome to my city, or should I say, our city. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes. Hang on. Are you a slave? A naked slave? You don't own your clothes. Who owns your clothes? Your clothes are not an expression of you. You don't feel a connection to your clothes. You don't see your clothes as part of you. That's how you show the world who you are. You don't own your clothes. It might seem odd to you. Yeah, it does, sister. But it makes perfect sense for us in this city. Everything you considered a product has now become a service. We have access to transportation, accommodation, food, and all the things we need in our daily lives. One by one, all these things became free. So it ended up not making sense for us to own much. What? Nothing is free, you wicked liar. Someone pays for everything. Someone had to make everything. Someone has to own everything. It's the fruits of their labor. That's a physical fact. That's a legal fact. That's a fact rooted in our very human nature. If you don't own your clothes, can someone come up to you and theoretically just take them? I just read to you how someone takes things back if you don't own them. I read to you from the Statute of Westminster 1275. If you're saying you rent your clothes, what a bizarre idea. Okay, if you're saying you just rent them, say so. I suppose people do rent tuxedos or other unusual clothing that we wear once in a blue moon, and they're so expensive it doesn't make any sense to buy them. All right. But that's the exception that proves the rule. And if you've ever rented a tux, and I don't think I've worn one in 25 years, you know that the rental company absolutely owns them, as you'll find out if you fail to return them. You'll get a big charge on your credit card. This is kooky stuff, but I want to read more because this is what Justin Trudeau is talking about. This is his club, the World Economic Forum. First, communication became digitized and free to everyone. Huh? You think it's free? Sure, it's free, like Facebook is free. But how can Facebook be worth close to $1 trillion in market capitalization if it's free? How can Gmail be free if Google is worth more than $1 trillion? Well, because when you use free Facebook and free Twitter and free YouTube and free email, don't you know that that's because you are what is being bought and sold? You. Your eyes, your ears, what you've seen and heard, what will be shown to you, what will be told to you. And more valuable than any of that, everything about you, your likes and dislikes, your history, your emotions and your moods, all of that will be owned by someone. You may be foolish enough to think that no one owns anything, but that's just you who thinks that. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, they've never been worth more. They've never owned more. I'll read some more from this kook. Then, when clean energy became free, things started to move quickly. Transportation dropped dramatically in price. It made no sense for us to own cars anymore because we could call a driverless vehicle or a flying car for longer journeys within minutes. We started transporting ourselves in a much more organized and coordinated way when public transport became easier, quicker, and more convenient than the car. When energy became free, how does that work? Who pays for it then to get it, to mine it? You can't make wind turbines or solar panels without coal. You know that, right? You can't make steel without coal. You need coal to get the iron ore hot enough. There are not wind turbine factories that are powered by wind turbines. You can't. And the rare earth elements necessary for so much clean energy, they're not really that clean, are they? They have to be mined in horrific conditions, mainly in China. But forget about that statement. Look at this. We started transporting ourselves in a much more organized and coordinated way. That's the thing, isn't it? You will be organized. You will be coordinated. You will be directed. You will be scheduled. You will be told where you can and can't go, and when, and how, and most importantly, if at all. Look at this dystopian blather. No more homes, no more families, no more property, just ants in a colony. In our city, we don't pay any rent because someone else is using our free space whenever we do not need it. My living room is used for business meetings when I am not there. What? Someone's going to come into your living room and use it for a business meeting and maybe take your stuff since you don't own it. Obviously, you don't have any kids. You obviously don't value time just to be alone with your family. I guess you have no right to exclude anyone. Forget about that man's home is his castle business. Imagine strangers coming into your very home because it's all free. I'll read some more. Once in a while, I will choose to cook for myself. It is easy. The necessary kitchen equipment is delivered at my door within minutes. Since transport became free, we stopped having all those things stuffed into our home. Why keep a pasta maker and a crepe cooker crammed into our cupboards? We can just order them when we need them. Really? So you don't even want a pot or a pan because someone else will provide them. Someone else will own them, I guess. Someone else has never quite said who or where these things come from and on what terms you might be permitted to access it. Do you think anything is free? Maybe the things that are free are the things that cost the most. And what if, I don't know, what are the odds that you just might be, what's the word again? Deplatformed or canceled. What then? Hey, I got a question. Would Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, would they live this way too? I'll read some more. When AI, that's artificial intelligence, and robots took over so much of our work, we suddenly had time to eat well, sleep well, and spend time with other people. The concept of rush hour makes no sense anymore since the work that we do can be done at any time. I don't really know if I would call it work anymore. It is more like thinking time, creation time, and development time. Really? So who would deliver the pasta maker? Again, who would deliver that crepe cooker? Again, who would build anything? Who would make anything? We're all just sitting around using free stuff provided by some godlike patron. Who? And in return for what? You know, I was at an amazing speech in the before times given by Peter Thiel. And he's a tech giant. He's the inventor of PayPal. He's the first outside investor of Facebook. Probably the closest thing to a freedom lover in Silicon Valley. In fact, he left Silicon Valley because he just found it too politically stifling. He literally moved cities. Anyways, Peter Thiel said, what scientific breakthroughs have we actually had in the past 50 years? We haven't been on the moon in 50 years. Where's the breakthrough? Have we cured cancer yet? Where are the flying cars? I paraphrase. And as to tech and smartphones, which is his area of excellence, he said smartphones are basically a little distracting video game we play as we ride through the New York subway system that was built 100 years ago. That's what he said. I was stunned to hear him say that. We're entertaining ourselves. We're numbing ourselves. We're messaging each other. That's what tech has done. Where are the great builders? Where are the great industrialists? The people who gave us the modern world? Well, the World Economic Forum has some thoughts on that. For a while, everything was turned into entertainment, and people did not want to bother themselves with difficult issues. It was only at the last minute that we found out how to use all these new technologies for better purposes than just killing time. Really, but the World Economic Forum doesn't actually tell us what those purposes are or how they will work or what was necessary. Maybe they're talking about this bizarre ant colony life, or maybe they're talking about, I don't know, just going to throw it out there, communism. That's, I think, the closest thing we've heard described so far. But let me show you the dark side here. And this is the World Economic Forum. Near the end, they say this. Once in a while, I get annoyed about the fact that I have no real privacy. Nowhere I can go and not be registered. I know that somewhere, everything I do, think, and dream of is recorded. I just hope that nobody will use it against me. All in all, it's a good life. I swear that is their definition of the good life. I swear I'm not making this up. Google it for yourself. Let me read the ending. All in all, it's a good life, much better than the path we were on. Really. Where it became so clear that we could not continue with the same model of growth. We had all these terrible things happening. Lifestyle diseases, climate change, the refugee crisis, environmental degradation, completely congested cities, water pollution, air pollution, social unrest and unemployment. We lost way too many people before we realized that we could do things different. What do you mean we lost people? Is this some after the revolution talk now? What are you talking about? They never quite come out and say what they're doing differently or what their new way is, other than no property, no privacy. Pretty clear on that, aren't they? No property, no privacy. No property, no privacy. No jobs, no homes. Everything is owned by someone else. This is their best life they're offering you. But listen again to Justin Trudeau, and he tells you what the alternative is they're talking about.
Building back better means getting support to the most vulnerable while maintaining our momentum on reaching the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SDGs. Canada is here to listen and to help. This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges like extreme poverty, inequality, and climate change.
Yeah, I think that combination of big government control and big government spending matched with no local democracy and no capitalism, I think that's called high-tech communism and globalism. And I think that's Justin Trudeau's plan. That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.